Hey, have you heard of the term SSL and TLS? If you are in a security domain, then you should have known this. It is an encryption protocol. You might be wondering where this SSL and TLS is being used. Some of you might know it is being used in the web traffic encryption. And is it not the only place the SSL and TLS is being used? Because it is being used in multiple places. Recently, I've came through one of the excellent videos of security domain, and where in that video, the security researcher Jeremy Chora was talking about the functionalities of SSL and TLS. Actually, he explained the fundamentals of the SSL, and I got inspired from that video, and I prepared an image, a diagram, in order to explain that SSL fundamentals. Also, I have added few stuffs to explain, to add more value to this concept. And without further ado, let me begin this. Now you are looking at the image that I have prepared to explain the SSL and TLS encryption. And you may see various parts, various stages in this SSL and TLS encryption. It is very important to understand its functionality so that you'll be able to uncover a lot of other protocol that is working based on this SSL and TLS. I would say not only the web traffic, not only the HTTPS. In fact, if you take the email traffic, there is SMTP, POP, IMAP. These protocols, the secured version of these protocols works based on this SSL. Works along with SSL. That would be the proper way of mentioning it. And not only that email protocol, the web protocol, if you take the other protocols like file transfer protocol, there is a secure version of that, and that also works along with SSL. If you take LDAP, there is a protocol called LDAP S. The S at the end means SSL or TLS. So it is using SSL to encrypt the communication, and that's what it's all about. And you may see the image here, this image that I have created to explain the SSL and TLS encryption, and I hope you can see this clearly. And here you can see the title here, and I have added the numbers here 1, 2, and here again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. These are the various stages in the SSL and TLS encryption. And yeah, you may see this. One second, let me adjust this. Yeah, you may see this image here. It all begins from the website owner. Actually, for instance, I took my own website here. For example, if I am planning to build a website, I would be building, of course, I would be building the website first of all. And in order to ensure the secure connection between my web server and the clients who are accessing my website, I should be using the SSL or TLS encryption. I cannot use the SSL and TLS encryption just like that. There are a lot of processes involved in that. First of all, if I am deploying a website, I should be generating a key pair. A key pair is nothing but a public and private key. I'll explain what it is clearly in the upcoming very soon. But before that, you should understand the website owner should be generating a public and private key. It is called as a key pair. And also a certificate. And look at this one, this first step. I'll explain this one. And before I explain this, here is the website, one entity. And here is the trusted CA, the next entity. Trusted CA, the CA means certificate authority. And look at this one, I highlighted the word trusted. They are trusted CA because they are doing a lot of things to establish the trust between the web client and the web server. I'll explain what they exactly do. And before that, you can see the list of trusted CAs. So these are the trusted CAs, and few more trusted CAs are there. That's why I mentioned like few more. And what they do. First of all, the website owner, they generate the key pair. They keep the private key with themselves and only shares the public key along with the certificate. So they want to get the sign from this certificate CA, they will be raising the CSR, certificate signing request. In order to raise the certificate signing request, they have to submit few details, like they have to keep that public key, they have to mention that site identity, and also the evidence for the ownership. They have to give the evidence that they are the one who is owning that website, so that the trusted CA can do the verification whether this specific request is authentic or not, whether this requester is holding that site or not. That one will be decided by the trusted CA after the background verification. So once they have done the background verification, then only they sign the certificate, and that's why they are trusted CA. And even, I mean, in terms of signing the certificate, you can generate your own certificate and you can sign the certificate. But the browsers, you can see the browsers icons I have mentioned here. These are some popular browsers, but there are a lot of browsers out there across the globe. They will not trust you. They will not trust your signature, and that's the main reason to get the signature from the trusted CA. And I hope you got this point. The website owner raises the certificate signing request, and the trusted CA does the background verification, and he eventually signs the certificate. And again, he shares the signed certificate to the website owner. And look at this one. I highlighted this key here. It is a public key. They are not sharing, the website owner is not sharing private key anywhere. They should keep the private key themselves, because private key is having utmost secrecy. It is top secret. You shouldn't share that private key. Then your website, your data, everything will be compromised, everything will be ruined. So that's the thing. And once they raise the CSR, the trusted CA, after the verification, they issue the signed certificate, and you can see this one. Here I have added the signature just for the sake of understanding. All right, now the website owner got the signed certificate. So what they do, the website owner actually supply the certificate whenever the client request that website. I'll explain this step. Actually, this is a separate process. So here is where the communication comes in, the communication between the web browser and the web server. And the earlier that I shown, the communication I displayed, that is between the trusted CA and the website owner. And once the certificate is obtained by the website owner, they host that certificate. Let me say what are these steps, what happens in these steps. First of all, I am the requester. I am using, I'm giving the request from any browser. I'm just surfing the internet. For example, let's say I am searching from the browser and I'm searching for perumaljagan.com, my website. And once they gave the request, so this is the first stage. Once they gave the request, they are simply giving the handshake, like hello message. Hey, I want to get the content of your website. Can you share me that content? That is how the web server asks the website. And once the website got that request, it assesses that request and says like, yeah, I can give, but it is an encrypted communication. So what it does, it is actually shares the certificate that it obtained from the trusted CA. So it keeps the public key in that certificate, and you can see the CA signature, and here is the certificate detail, which contains the site identity details, and it serves that certificate to the web browser, the web client. All right. The second stage, the web browser obtains the certificate, and once it does so, once it got the certificate, it creates a symmetric key. I'll explain what is the difference between symmetric key and asymmetric key. Let's say there is two entity A and B. They want to communicate a message secretly. If they use only one key to encrypt that message or decrypt that message, then it is called symmetric encryption. And the key used to encrypt and decrypt that message is called symmetric key. If the same two entities want to exchange a message secretly, this time two keys are generating a key pair, public key and private key. And one key is used for encryption and another key is used for decryption. So it's like half of the key used for encryption, half of the key used for decryption. If that is the case, and it is called asymmetric encryption or asymmetric encryption. So this is the brief explanation for this symmetric and asymmetric encryption, and I'll explain what sort of encryption is used in this SSL and TLS process. Okay, now once it obtained the certificate from the website, actually this web browser, it creates the symmetric key. It generates a symmetric key. So as I mentioned, symmetric key is a single key used to both encrypt and decrypt the data. Now, once it generated the symmetric key, what it does? Actually, here is what the the beauty of the SSL comes in. Once it generates the symmetric key, it actually encrypts this symmetric key, not data, encrypts this symmetric key with the public key it received on the certificate. You got my point, right? It is actually getting the certificate and also the public key. Now it generates the symmetric key and it encrypts that symmetric key with the public key it obtained from the web server. And you can see this one. That is why I mentioned like this. I have, I have striked this key because it's like an encrypted key. That's why I mentioned like this. And you can see the color I have used. It's a green color because it was encrypted by the public key supplied by the web server. And now you can see once it did that encrypting that symmetric key with the public key, it is actually passes that encrypted symmetric key to the web server. Now the web server is already having the private key in it. It is having the private key. So whatever getting encrypted with this public key, the web server can decrypt that. So once it obtained this encrypted symmetric key, the public key is used for the encryption, the web server can decrypt this and it can read this symmetric key. Now in this stage, at this moment, both browser and server are having the symmetric key in hand. Now what can they do? They can use this symmetric key to encrypt and decrypt the traffic, the actual data that is being transmitted between these two entities. And this is the amazing thing of the SSL and the TLS encryption. Maybe in this key encryption and decryption, you might be getting a little confused. You may got confused. I'll clarify that. Let's say the symmetric key is simple. Only one key is used for both encryption and decryption. But for the asymmetric encryption, let's say a data that is encrypted by private key can only decrypted by its public key. If the data is being encrypted by the public key, it can only decrypted by the private key. This is the concept. Now here what happened? The private key, the website kept itself. It stashed away into the web server, right? It has the private key and it supplies the public key to the other entities like browsers. Now the browsers once generated or obtained any critical data, it encrypts that with the public key. Here it encrypted the symmetric key with that public key given by the web server, and once it does the encryption, it sends it to the web server. The web server receives that encrypted symmetric key. Since it is encrypted with the public key of this web server, it holds the private key, so it can decrypt that and see what the symmetric key is. And that's the beauty of this SSL and TLS process. And once the fifth step is nothing but once both the entities obtained this symmetric key, that can be used to encrypt and decrypt the data. Internet is highly uncertain place. There are a lot of bad actors out there. So while transmitting any data between two people or two entities through the internet, this kind of SSL encryption becomes inevitable. And the stealthiness of this SSL and TLS encryption makes it a formidable candidate for the encryption. Well, this is what the SSL and TLS communication process. I was thinking to explain one more thing. Look at this one. Let me zoom in a bit. The CA identification. This is another important thing in SSL and TLS. While I was talking this step, the trusted certificate authority, what is the relationship between this trusted CA and the browsers? If the trusted CA authorizes a website, why this web server should obey that order? Why that web server obey that signature? How it identifies it is signed by the trusted CA? Let me explain that as well. Look at this one. In this diagram, I have mentioned the same trusted CA, and the certificate you may see, it is actually, you may see the certificate contents, the public key that is available, and you can see when in this specific process, I am explaining the relationship between the browser and the trusted CA, the web client and the trusted CA. What exactly happens? If you see any web browser, there will be list of trusted certificate authorities and their respective public key. The web server contains that. I can prove it in a moment. But before that, just understand this. In browser, you will see the list of trusted CAs and their respective public signatures, the public keys. Now, look at this one. The trusted CA, actually, that is, the trusted CA gives that their details and also the public key, right? Now, if when the browser communicates to any web server that got signed by the trusted certificate authority, obviously it shares the public key, right, in the certificate. Now, once it receives, the browser verifies whether this trusted CA is real or not by seeing this signature. You can see here I have just striked this signature, because while the trusted CA or the web server serving the certificate to the browser, it is actually hides this signature. The signature is encrypted actually, in a proper term. The signature is encrypted. The trusted CA, they will not supply the certificate like that to the, in a plain text to the web server. Instead, they strike out the signature and serve. And they encrypt the signature and serve. Because they encrypt the trusted CA encrypt the signature with the private key of the trusted CA. The trusted CA, as I mentioned before, there are few trusted CA. They have their own private key. So what they does, like the web server is keeping its private key itself, the trusted CA keep their private key themselves. They won't be leaking that private key. It is very, very sensitive one, the sensitive piece of data. They will be having that private key, and they use that private key to sign the certificate that they supply. You got this point? And here, when I was showing this process, the first stage and second stage, I simply mentioned the signature because I didn't want to add more details in this stage. But here you can see this is how the actual certificate would look like. They will encrypt that signature with the private key they have, the trusted CA. Then only the certificate will be supplied to the browser. As I mentioned before, the browser is having the list of trusted certificate authorities and their respective public key. Now what will happen? The trusted CA already signed the signature. They encrypted the signature with their private key. Now, once the browser receives the certificate, it will apply that respective public key to decrypt the signature and see if the decryption is succeeded, then the browser can witness its signature and it can verify, okay, this website is authorized by this trusted CA, so that it is safe to establish the communication. And that is how this trust process works. I hope you understand this. Let me explain this once again briefly. The trusted CA, this is about the trust between the web server and the web browser and the trusted CA. The trusted CA is having their own private key. When they are serving certificate to the web server, they use their private key to encrypt their signature and they share the certificate to the web server. Actually, in between, I should have mentioned the web server, but I didn't do that. Once the web server got that certificate, it serves that certificate to its client, and the signature is encrypted with the private key of trusted CA. Now, once the certificate is received in the browser validates, decrypts that signature by using the public key that is already listed on the browser. So this is the process. This is the I would say this process is an astonishing one. I really enjoyed learning this. So this is what I just wanted to showcase. So this is how this SSL and TLS thing works. This is the fundamental. Let me show it in the browser. Now look at this. I am on my browser settings. Here I am going to show the list of trusted certificate authorities and their respective public key and other details. And here I am simply searching for the certificate. Under the security section, I can see an option called manage certificates. I am opening it and you can see the list of certificate, list of servers, and here is the thing, authorities. And look at this, the list of certificate authorities. Here are the list of certificate authorities. I'm trying to open one of the certificate authority. Let's say Microsoft. There are two subset here. I'm simply viewing it and look at the detail here. It is having the certificate fingerprint, and here is the CA detail, the certificate signing authority detail, and you can see few more details in this details section. And this is the certificate signing authority name, and look at the certificate version, its serial number, its signature, the issuer details. The validity of the certificate is very important. It is valid for a stipulated time only. And look at the certificate, the subject details. So here is the certificate signing authority detail, and here is the public key that I was talking about. So every certificate authority and their respective public key is available on the web browser. Just to decrypt the signature signed by the certificate authority. And this is what I just wanted to show in the browser. And let me go to my website perumaljagan.com, and here if you see this log symbol, by clicking this one we can see that site settings, not the site setting probably, connection is secure and the certificate is valid. So this is where I should see the certificate of the web server. So this is the certificate of the web server. If I go to the details section, I can see the public key of this website. And whenever the site is accessed, this website serves the certificate along with the public key to the requester. And look at this one, it contains the public key. And this is what, not only this, I said before in the beginning of this video, not only the web traffic is encrypted and decrypted using SSL TLS. There are many other protocols having this SSL rendition of it. Actually, apart from this protocols for the communication, the software developers, the software authors uses this certificate signing and the validation technique to maintain the authenticity of their software. They use this for the tamper protection to establish the trust between the software buyer and the software vendor, the software seller. I'll explain. I think I can do that. Let me go to this CLI, and here you may see couple of files. The SIG check, it's a Windows binary to check the certificate signing of a binary, whether the binary is a signed binary or not. If it is signed binary, then who signed it? Those details we can verify by using this SIG check binary. And this procmon.exe, I just wanted to show you how to verify a signed binary, and I'll explain how it is verified in the machine. For example, let's say it is a Windows machine. I'm installing this procmon on my machine. Now my machine has to trust this procmon.exe, and it will check whether this procmon.exe is actually signed by Microsoft or not. It will verify that, and I'll explain how that verification works. First of all, let me check the signature of this. I am calling wine in order to execute this Windows binary in Linux machine, -a and -h, and then the procmon, the actual binary, to read the signature details, and giving enter. In a few moments, I'll be seeing the signature detail. Here it is. It says it's a signed certificate. Signed binary, and you can see the signing date as well, and the publisher, Microsoft Corporation. And look at the details here. It also contains the hashes and the entropy in the binary. It says its original name and the internal name, everything. So by using this, we can verify the authenticity of the software. The machine can identify the authenticity of the software. Now we have seen this signature. How my machine will understand this signature when it is installed in my machine? How it verifies its authenticity? Let me show that as well. I think I need to move to HC directory here. If you go to in Linux, if you go to HC directory and SSL, you will be seeing a folder called certs. And look at this. There are bunch of certificate PEM file. Let me open one of these PEM file and see what is there. Look at this one. It is the public key of the specific trusted certificate authority. Now what will happen when the binary is signed by the CA, the software vendor? This machine can use this public key in order to verify that that is an actual software. It's an authentic software. So it uses this certificate signing technique to verify the softwares as well. Well, that is fascinating. That is interesting. Let me show one more thing here. I have captured one HTTPS traffic. Let me show it in Wireshark whether how that exchange happens. I have explained the theory, how SSL functions. Let me show it in practically. Look at this packet capture. I have just filtered the TLS protocol, the TLS handshake here. And look at this one. This is my machine and this is the destination I am trying to access. The first message is a client hello. I am saying hi to the web server. Hi, I need this data. Can you please provide me? That's what my message is all about. And you can see the transport layer security. It's a handshake message. Nothing much here. And there are few encryption protocol. So here you can see bunch of details. So these are the encryption protocols, that the client is proposing to the web server. So it proposes like it is compatible with these encryption parameters, and it asks the web server to choose one of the encryption parameters, and that's what it does. And look at this, the supported version. I'm just extending it. It supports both TLS 1.3 and TLS 1.2, and it asks the web server to choose one of these. So that is how this client hello message begins. Not only saying hello, it also shares some Chyper scheme. Well, once the server got that hello and all that recommended Chyper, it actually says server hello. It says hello to the client along with the Chyper specification is changing here. It is actually recommending to use specific Chyper for the encryption. And that's what happening here. Now I chose the traffic and here you can see the server hello message and the server hello, and you can see the change Chyper spec protocol, and I'm enlarging it and you can see the change Chyper message here. So this is how the server communicates to the client, and in this same stage it also transfers the certificate and the public key. Let me show that as well. And look at this one. If I scroll down, you can see the key share option here. So it is sharing the key share. It is sharing the key here. The key exchange is happening in this stage. So the stage is nothing but, let me open that image. Here is the image. In the second stage, it is sharing the certificate along with the public key, and that's what happening in this stage. And the next one, so this one, pardon, the communication between the server and the client. So it serves the certificate along with the public key, and that's what this server hello and change Chyper spec is all about. And look at this one, the application data. This is also sent by the web server, and I hope these two packets denotes this the Chyper negotiation and the certificate transfer. So not only this two. It is actually sending the, look at this one. It chose the TLS. They mutually agreed this TLS scheme, and here is the application data, and it is sending that public key to the client. Well, and the next one, it got the response from the web server. Now it has to respond back. The web browser has to respond back. We are in the stage 3. So it generates the symmetric key and encrypt the symmetric key with the public key that is supplied by the web server. Now that is the stage happening here. It is saying the change Cipher spec. It is acknowledging that it changed that Cipher spec, and also the application data you may see. Application data is nothing but the encrypted data, and that's what it denotes. Look at this one. It is actually encrypted that application data. That is nothing but the encrypted symmetric key. It transfers to the web server. Now, once it got that encrypted symmetric key, both the entities have that symmetric key in hand. It can be used to encrypt the actual data between those two. And from next packet, you can see, from this packet, you can see the complete application data. From this traffic, the actual data is started transmitting between these two, server and client. So this is what I wanted to explain with the Wireshark capture that I am having. Now let me speak out another important thing. I'll tell you the importance of holding the private key with you. You shouldn't leak the private key to anyone. It should be with you. You shouldn't leak, you shouldn't share it to anyone. I'll tell you, I am simply searching the word certificate in the Bleeping Computer website. Bleeping Computer is the website where you can see the bunch of cybersecurity news, the cybersecurity incident events that are happening related to the security, information security. It's a promising platform, engaging one. I love the blogs that they publish. So if you get time, try to refer these blogs. And look at this one. There are a bunch of events. Look at the event, the title, malware now using NVIDIA stolen code signing certificate. So in this event, the threat actor managed to steal the certificate, which means the private key also. They stole this private key and they used that in their malware that they are distributing. So threat actors, what they do, they generate their own malware. In order to sign the malware, they steal the certificate from some other entity, maybe the private key, and they use that key to sign their malware. So when that malware, the piece of spooky code, this piece of software is received by the victim, they think it's a legit software because it is signed with the valid signature, then they execute it in their machine. And it could be a technique to evade the detection. The security systems might miss that kind of attempts because it is signed by the legit key, legit certificate, and it leads to a devastation. So that's what I would say. And look at the look at the other blocks too. Russia creates its own TLS certificate authority to bypass the sanctions. In the response of the Ukraine war, the other countries started applying the sanctions over Russia, and they created their own TLS certificate authority to overcome those sanctions. That's what this news is all about. And look at the next news. Samsung, LG, MediaTek certificates compromised to sign the Android malware, I suppose. And NSA wants wildcard certificate risks and provide mitigations. There are a bunch of other blogs about this attack. The information that is stolen, the certificate info. Well, there are a lot of things, not only this. The list is prolonging. It goes on. It keep growing. There are a lot of attacks happened. So the intention for the threat actor is to use the certificate for some other attacks that they are carrying out in the future. Well, that's what. So it is very important to understand the SSL and TLS. What is the importance of the private key? What is the importance of distributing the certificate? What is the importance of signing a piece of software? So these things and all I just wanted to convey. So that's why I did this. I did it through this video. Hey, I almost forgot to inform a tiny piece of information. When I was showing this Wireshark capture, I have explained in this client hello message, actually the browser recommends a few TLS encryption methods that it supports, the version it supports. You can see here the TLS 1.2 and 1.3 is mentioned. TLS is transport layer security and it has few versions. I think the version is beginning with 1.2 or 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3 up to 1.3, I guess. The latest one is 1.3, I suppose. And what is the difference between these versions of TLS and the SSL? What is the difference? I'll explain that. You can see the process is not changing here between the versions. Only the key changes. The protocol that is used to generate the key is changes. In the client hello, the browser actually mentions the list of compatible protocol, the encryption protocols here. And you can see, because the browser is generating the symmetric key here. Once the web server confirms the specific version of TLS, it could be a TLS 1.2, it could be TLS 1.3. Once the web server confirms the TLS version, then the web browser uses that TLS version to encrypt this, to generate this symmetric key. So the symmetric key, you might have heard the protocol like AES, DES. So they are the encryption protocols, advanced encryption scheme. That is the definition for AES. So the version that actually differs based on this symmetric key only, the strength of this symmetric key, how strength this symmetric key is, whether it is crackable or not. If it is lesser strength, if it has the less strength, then it can be easily crackable. So that is the concept here. If it is having more strength, then it is very, very hard to crack. Sometimes it is impossible to crack. So that is the concept. So when the version increases, that means they are changing, they are modifying the encryption protocol that they are using. That is the meaning of it. Hey, that's it. That's it I wanted to explain. Hopefully I have explained one of the crucial concepts of security. You need not to be in the cyber security. You can be in a network security or any other security related domain. Knowing SSL and TLS, how it functions, it is crucial thing, because almost all of the encryptions happening based on SSL and TLS. If you know this, then it would be opening a lot of doors for you. And hopefully I have explained it in a clear way. If you really enjoyed and learned some new things, and don't forget to do all this YouTube algorithms, like, comment, subscribe, everything. I'll catch you next time with another exciting video. Until then, I'm signing off. Cheers, and I see you all. Thank you so much.